HHS, there's other offices of minority health, but they're at different levels. So we're really in a key position to influence healthcare, especially how it applies to minority populations. So why health care reform? I think all of us, I don't need to, I think, to tell you, but we know the severity of the uninsured in this country. You know, we have what? Some people say 45, some people say 47, some people say 50 million Americans are uninsured. It's a big problem. More than 8 million are children. Over 3 million are Latinos. 8 out of 10 are hardworking families, come from hardworking families. And we know in this room that Latinos are hardworking folks. You know, they may, for example, they may have low educational attainment, yet we have very high rates of workforce participation. Majority of the uninsured are 44 years old, and over half of the minority population are uninsured. 15 plus more Latinos, Hispanics do not have health insurance. Okay. Currently, the unemployment rate has risen by almost 2.7% the last 12 months, and it's going up. For every 1% in terms of the unemployment rate, the number of uninsured Americans increased by almost 1.1 million. That's bad news. And hopefully, with the stimulus bill that was passed by President Obama, that that the economic engine will start, turning the wheels and creating more jobs and putting people back to work. The unemployment rate for Hispanics or Latinos has increased by what, 9.7, almost 10%. And so what happens is that then for those individuals who lose their jobs, they find other jobs to try to meet ends meet, and consequently they're also their uninsured rates go up. Healthcare costs. I believe that this is probably the major driver of why we're pushing healthcare. And this is some data that I got from the National Health Expenditures from CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicare Services. and you can see how much like the National Health Expenditures grew like from 6.1% to 2.2 trillion in 2007, and then it's almost like almost 7,500 per person. And the expenditures accounted to close to 16.2% of the gross domestic product. And it goes on and on and on. So basically, the bottom line is that we're spending a lot of money on healthcare. Now, are we efficient? Are we producing the results that we should be producing in terms of health outcomes, in terms of improving the health status of Latinos and all Americans? Well, that's a big question mark. This is my own personal bias. I don't think we are. And I think that's probably the opinion of a lot of Americans, a lot of policymakers. And so I think this is probably one of the major driving forces why health reform is important. And then, you look at health disparities. I think all of us in this room recognize that Latinos, African Americans, American Indians, their health outcomes are bad. They're poor. You look at obesity rates, diabetes rates, and they're all interconnected. And then you look at cardiovascular disease. Those kind of conditions, really have a tremendous burden on the healthcare system in terms of cost, in terms of treatment. Look at AIDS. The AIDS epidemic is getting out of hand. I live in the city, the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. And we have an epidemic in the city in terms of AIDS. The African American community is It's an epidemic. And so you get diagnosed, but then you look at the treatment that's going to occur in the next 10 or 15 years, the cost, talking about the pharmaceutical drugs, etc. I mean, it's just tremendous cost. So obviously, these are some other kind of contributing, I guess, factors that they have a major impact on healthcare and healthcare costs. Now, the causes, they're complex. Look at poverty, you look at racism, violence, crime, where people live, the schools that they attend, their neighborhoods, their social networks, churches, etc. All these are, they're contributing kind of, I guess, factors that influences someone's well-being. I grew up in California, and I recall that I grew up in a town where the dividing line was railroad tracks. You had the west side, you had the east side. They called it Taco Town. So I lived in Taco Town. And then there was another section where they called it Okie Town. That's where the Dust Bowl was. Then you had another area. It was almost like a neutral zone. And that's where the best schools, the best swimming pools, the best recreational facilities were. And you know what my dad did? He moved us from Taco Town to that part of town. I'm the oldest of 11. Right? And all of us graduated from high school. All of us ended up going to college or ended up running a small business. But I think that environment enabled us to get out of that situation and at least be successful in whatever career path we took. So the environment does have a lot to do with, in terms of where we end up. My dad was a Teamster. He worked at a cannery, Contadina Foods. He had health insurance, dental insurance. He had a retirement plan. But those kind of jobs no longer exist. They've been exported to other parts of the world. So I guess the bottom line is that there are these causes of disparities, and I think place does matter. In terms of, health insurance does matter. Social networks do matter. Social capital does matter. So what the Obama Health Reform Plan. So these are some three major things about the plan. And if you go and at the end of my presentation, I have the website where you can go to it. But this was developed during the campaign. Okay. And these are some three elements of the plan, and you really need to familiarize yourself with that plan, because a lot of the elements are probably going to be included in the final version of the health reform plan. So the bottom is that we want to reduce costs, obviously, because our healthcare system is not working for people and businesses, but just for insurance companies. I'm not saying that, that's documented. He wants to make sure that the health reform plan or health coverage is affordable and accessible to everyone, every American in this country, especially Latinos and other minority communities. And then he wants to focus on prevention and strengthening the public health infrastructure to promote wellness, to promote, again, prevention. So, I'm not going to go through all these books, but obviously, and I think this impacts you folks, especially in the hospital setting, in terms of investing in electronic health information technology systems. There's a lot of entities, even especially in the private, let's say, practitioners, small practitioners. They're still old school, right? Paper-based. And so the push is to introduce or get them to use technology, information technology, so they can increase their efficiency in whatever healthcare setting you're in, either a hospital or private practice. In Europe, they're way ahead of us.